This is the third video in a series looking at a site layout in Belfast. In this video, we will add houses and parking. Just picking up from the last video then, we finished off with a site looking like this. As it transpires, I did leave it short on the number of plots, so we should really fix that. I will add in another line here. Just go to perpendicular. I guess because this front is a little bit tight, we might want to offset that slightly. So let's use a distance of 1000 just to see what that looks like. Maybe 2000. Let's leave a couple of options there, I suppose, just so that we can work that out when we add the houses in a moment or two. The final one then, so this might be too tight to fit something in here, but let's see what it looks like. Perpendicular. Yeah, that's definitely too tight there. So let's offset that a couple of times. Offset by 1000. Looks like it might work. Let's see. As I said, there's always the option to make this a different shape or even making it into two apartments if that's what is called for in terms of the project, just to provide the 20 units overall. So the next thing we will add is a new layer, GA houses. Going to make that green. Make the layer current. And the size of your houses may vary, but at this stage it's just to get an idea for the site layout for the first submission. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Let's make it 8000 by 6000, just as a general idea at this point. So if we move it up to the site, we can then rotate that. So using the down arrow to click on reference, clicking on the base point, second point, and then I'm going to use the nearest here just to pick up the third point. So that rectangle, it now aligns perfectly with the site. We don't really want the house up at the very front, so let's try offsetting by 3000 just to see what that would look like if we move that back. A bit close to this back end, but it does leave a bit of space, so let's try running with that. And then we can copy that over, since it's going to be a semi-detached house, and then we can copy both of these to the other site. At this stage, we do have the option of doing different things in the middle of the site. So we could, for example, copy the houses like that. Not sure I overly like that with my context here, but I mean, it would work possibly. Well, yeah, let's leave it like that and see how it goes. I guess the other option would be to rotate that by 90 and then potentially we could move that to there. Just make sure we're snapping to the right point. If we offset by 3000 again, say, we could move those houses back. So that does give a different option. Maybe that's okay. I'm going to move those over to that one. Didn't snap correctly there, did it? Let's offset by 3000. Just to make sure we get it completely accurately where it should be. Move. If you're in any doubt, you can always right click, shift and right click to move it exactly where you want it to go. We can mirror that. Again, some of the snap points just maybe not cooperating with me the way I would like there, so be careful when you're doing it too. Let's copy these ones down through the site at a different rotation. It really is up to each individual team to decide exactly what they want to do. Maybe those bottom ones, you might want to angle them slightly differently so that they align with the footpath there. Again, it would be just rotating from the base point. So actually, it's probably better to keep them in the alignment with that point there. So let's move. Okay, so select the two blocks for the houses, rotate, down arrow, reference, and then base point, second point, and align it to that line. That may or may not be a good idea because in this case anyway, the boundary line we need to change, but you can do that if that's what you want to do. You could angle the boundary line for the bottom one there differently. I guess I'll just undo that and leave it as it is, but that gives you the sort of things you need to think about with this site. Also, you do need to decide where the houses are going to be for these bottom ones. So I'm going to copy. Let's try perpendicular, see if that lines up reasonably well. The angle of the line there is slightly different, so that could be fixed. For the purposes of the demo, I'm not going to do that. And again, let's just copy that to somewhere on that line. Again, it isn't totally aligning there, so that should be rotated to be a little bit more accurate. So we've got 20 houses on there. These two are a bit tight. The boundary line just exactly here may or may not work depending on the exact areas that you're dealing with, but that's up to each team to do that. So again, then just to think about car parking spaces off the back of that, I'm going to create another layer, call it GA car spaces maybe. Make this yellow. Remember, you use these index colors here so they all come out with black lines. Make that current layer. So remember, in terms of a car parking space, we're going to need a size of very minimum is 2400 by 4800, but let's be a little more generous than that. So let's make this 5000 by 2500. And then we can once again move that to a point that makes sense, just at the boundary line there. Rotate, and we go to reference point, first point and second point there. We've got that aligned. We probably don't want it right up against the boundary there, not a good idea. So we can move that down. You might want some planting. Certainly you would need access for a bin if you're going to put the car parking there. Debatably, there are other options here. So let's try a different one. We can rotate by 90 degrees. And whether you want to have the road and a footpath, or whether you want to have some sort of shared space, it is up to each team to decide that. So in this case, I'm going to actually put the car parking space a little bit closer to the main road, and we can move that down. I guess you might want to use accurate dimensions. Nearest isn't working there. Is it invalid point? Not sure why that's not wanting to move that. So let's try again. Move. Maybe I hadn't selected the first point in that instance. I don't know. So remember not to put it too close to the end here. Otherwise, there might be problems with the curvature for the footpath just to get out onto the other road, Posnett Street there. So each team will need to decide whether you want the car parking spaces to be in curtilage or whether you want it to be more sort of public access. Have a look at the example drawings, have a look at some estate agent drawings and things like that. But that should give you enough at this stage to know for the layout for the house and roughly where you want the car parking to be.